We'll bring up the Bad Batch episode again if we want to. However,
Absolutely.
I had a topic that I wanted to discuss.
Oh, okay.
Just because of the fact that today's Bad Batch episode is about ideologies being challenged, I thought that we could talk about the Sith code versus the Jedi code.
Mm-hmm.
Because, why not? It's a good topic. So for those of you who don't know, the Jedi and the Sith have two separate codes that they live by that it basically informs their ideologies. On the Jedi side, you have... let me see if... Okay, can we bring up a better picture of this, please? Here we go. This is a better picture. So on the Jedi side, you have the Jedi code, which is there is no emotion, there is peace. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. There is no passion, there is serenity. There is no chaos, there is harmony. There is no death, there is the Force. Versus the Sith code, which is literally almost entirely opposite to the Jedi code, which is peace is a lie, there is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall free me. But yeah, so literally diametrically opposed codes. To be honest, this is kind of an idea I was kicking around as a topic all week. Luca, you know this. My viewers don't. I've been reading the Darth Bane trilogy of books, which have been absolutely phenomenal read. You guys should check it out. Drew, I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Karpyshyn?
I guess.
Karpyshyn. Great author. Does really good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys haven't read the Darth Bane trilogy, go read it. It takes place 300 years before Phantom Menace?
I think
Phantom
it's
Menace?
1,000.
1,000? No, because I think Revan takes place
No, Revan's 3,000.
Revan's 3,000?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Darth Bane is close to 1,000 or 900-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's say it takes place a long time before Phantom Menace.
But not too long.
1,000 years, not too long. But yeah, and basically, Darth Bane is one of the original Sith Lords, and he basically sets up the rule of two, a master and an apprentice. One to embody the power, the other to crave it. But basically, I've been reading this, and they really go into the Sith philosophy a lot and dissect it. I feel like the IRA would follow the Sith. Actually, I disagree. You know what? Hold on. I'll get back to you on that, because I feel like there's part of it they would agree with, part of it they wouldn't agree with. And it's not just the Jedi are the good guys and the Sith are the bad guys. It's a lot more deeper than that. Mr. Gunny, hello, welcome on into the podcast. Great to have you in here. Appreciate it. Hold on, I gotta pull this page back real quick. Okay, we're good. But yeah, so I thought we would talk about this a little bit. Because it's an interesting topic.
Absolutely.
Because literally in Star Wars, we all know the Jedi, we all know the Sith, we all know the big players in the games or the books or obviously the movies and the TV shows. But I feel like no one ever stops to actually talk about what makes the Jedi and what makes the Sith the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought we'd talk about this. So I will hand it off to Luca. Thoughts on the codes, the Jedi, or what do you think? What do you think makes the Jedi and the Sith the Sith?
Okay, if I may, I kind of want to go off a little bit.
Go off. Oh boy, guys, you're gonna be introduced to the Luca rant.
No, it's not a rant. I'm not gonna rant. It's just I want to sort of go a little bit more in depth about this. I think it's a really interesting question, actually, and I think that the Sith are, as a whole, not as evil as we tend to give them credit for. I think obviously they definitely are evil, but I think when you sort of analyze it more, it's still bad, but it's a little bit more understandable why they do so. So the way that I view the Force, there's different ways you can interpret the Force, I guess, and it has not been helped whatsoever by Star Wars having these different interpretations, which is kind of cool, I guess. But there's the living energy field, sort of. There's some people see the Force more as an actual sort of guiding influence, I guess you could say.
It has its own like will. That,
Exactly,
like,
right? And they talk a lot about that in like various stuff. You got like even in Knights of the Old Republic, they talk about that.
Yeah.
Obviously, in Mortis, the Chosen One, the whole Chosen One prophecy, speaks to the Force having a will, so to speak. Like the Force, and Plagueis, of course, talks about that too. Plagueis and Palpatine were manipulating the midichlorians, so the Force was like, nope, don't do that. And
Qui-Gon as well, he refers to it as a living Force, like it's its own living, breathing thing.
Yeah. I tend not to go so much in that direction, and this, whole conversation obviously is going to be subjective, to what you believe in. But I see the Force as sort of like how we have gravity in a sense, right? It's this permeating sort of like energy field, I guess. Basically, the Obi-Wan explanation from A New Hope.
Yeah.
This living energy field created by all living things, sort of.
Connects us, and penetrates us. And...
Right. But unlike...
Although, generally when an old man is talking to a teenager about penetrating, I usually get some...
That's a red flag right there.
Exactly.
The difference between gravity and the Force, though, is that unlike gravity, not everyone sort of has... Everyone's affected by the Force, and everyone produces the Force, I guess, but not everyone has that connection to it that Force-sensitive people do, right? And so I think the heart of the Jedi and Sith ideological struggle, and I think the reason why throughout the Star Wars history you've had the Jedi and the Sith reoccurring again and again. You've had it in the Old Republic, you have it in the prequels, you have it in the OT, and then afterwards, and then even after that, you have different players, but you're always coming back to that same ideological struggle of the Jedi and the Sith. I think it's because with the Force, you have basically this power, and the Jedi and the Sith are sort of the two main viewpoints of how this power can be used, right? The Sith see the Force as a tool, sort of like how... I don't know if I like the X-Men a lot. I don't know if you guys are into the X-Men a lot, but Magneto and the Mutant Brotherhood see themselves as Homo superior, right?
Yeah.
Instead of like Homo sapien, they're like they shouldn't be afraid or ashamed of their gifts. They should embrace them because they are gifted beyond what a normal person is, and as such that makes them sort of quote-unquote superior, right?
And that they should use those gifts to fulfill personal or individual goals.
Exactly.
Even if it means having to suppress other people.
Exactly. And that's where the Sith comes in. They have this power, and their point of view is, I have this power, others do not, therefore I am somehow better, right?
Yeah.
And I have to use this power to... I really like the second last line, and the last line as well of the Sith Code, where it's, through victory my chains are broken and the Force shall set me free. So they are, I don't want to say oppressed, but they're sort of like they're kept down by the normal... By society's
moral standards.
Exactly, right? Like, why should I adhere to a society that doesn't have the power I have? Why should I be pigeonholed? Why should I be put down when I have this power? And through the usage of the Force, I can break my chains, figuratively, literally in some cases.
Yeah.
And so the Force will set you free. And it's all about the personal sort of gain, right? It's not about using this power for others, to help others. It's about using it for yourself, right? And obviously stop me if you want to add anything.
No,
I hope I'm not going off too much on the tangent.
It's all good. I want to let you finish your thing, and then I'll jump in afterward.
Okay. So that's sort of what the Sith see, and obviously we should be considerate to others. We should, if we have something that can help society as a whole, we should use it, right? But I don't think it's too far of a stretch to see why they would sort of want to go down this path, right? Imagine you find $1 million on the street, right? Do you donate it or do you keep it for yourself, right? Obviously you could donate it and it might go to a good cause, right? Or you could rationalize it as, I need the money as well, right? I was lucky enough to find it. It could help me a lot through life, especially if you're going through a hard time, right? And I think a lot of people wouldn't necessarily fault someone for keeping the money, right? Obviously I'm not trying to say the two are obviously equal. Right. Obviously the Sith go far and beyond that, but I think at its core it's definitely, it's sort of like that. It's like, you have this power, now what do you do with it, right? It's like with great power comes great responsibility, right? And so with the Jedi on the other side, I feel like they're the other answer, or the other point of view, I guess you could say, when it comes to the Force. Where
they're the other side of the coin.
Exactly. Where they're sort of like... with the Jedi, I think it's really... It's an interesting discussion, because they are simultaneously studying and trying to understand the Force in sort of a Buddhist sort of spiritual meditation sort of sense, like
right.
becoming one with the Force,
like nature, or
one with
energy,
exactly,
yep.
right? But however, they're also trying to use the Force for good, right?
Yeah.
And
however that good is defined.
Exactly. And that's interesting, because even within the Jedi you can have different viewpoints, right? And
even among the Sith, the term good could be used to serve any number of things.
Exactly. Like, and there's definitely different views of the Sith, right?
Right.
So with the Jedi, one could even argue that they went too much into helping others, right? In the Clone Wars, right? They became generals. They became
soldiers.
Instead of peacekeepers, they became soldiers, right?
Yeah.
They were active participants in this war.
Yeah.
They were so politically entangled with the Republic that they essentially became its sort of like judicial/military arm of the Republic, right? They weren't just negotiators or peacekeepers anymore. Now they full on blown into accepting the army, right?
Yep.
Because they've like they sort of got this hint of the Sith, and they're like, oh yeah, now we gotta do this, right? So it's an interesting sort of aspect with that, because it's like, we should help people, but are we maybe going
too far in the other direction?
Yeah.
I just want to jump in quickly.
No, absolutely. Please go ahead.
When you said something about how the Sith view the Force in terms of metaphorically, or sometimes not metaphorically, the idea of the Force shall, like, through victory my chains are broken, the Force shall free me. There's an interesting, and this comes up a number of times in the first two Bane novels, and I'm sure it'll come up in the third. I'm sorry if I keep bringing up the Bane novels. Like, I'm literally like inhaling these books.
You should read them. They're good.
They're really good. Like, they're really, really good. If you want the Sith perspective on things, it's fantastic.
And Plagueis too.
Plagueis too, yes. Well, sorry. Read everything. Just consider everything.
It's like an unofficial quadrology, kind of.
Yeah,
basically. I don't know.
And basically there's a premise within the Sith Code that actually argues, and this kind of connects to the Marvel reference, the Sith actually believe that life, whether that's human life or, because we're talking about Star Wars, so there's aliens as well, but like life as a general rule, and the amount of value that we should prescribe to life is the amount of power that any one individual has. So they actually believe that it is a moral good to kill those with less power, because if you cannot defend yourself through the accumulation of your own power, then you actually don't deserve to live. It's a really interesting take, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of like Darwinian
exactly
logic.
That's what I was going to bring up. Yeah,
the strong survive,
Survival
the weak must fall kind of thing, which, like, in some contexts is absolutely right. I mean, people who do well in life generally end up with ending up spreading like creating like families, or ended up like owning corporations or business or whatever, and the weak do usually end up by the wayside. But the Sith, they take it one step further. They actually believe not only is it a moral good, but they have a moral duty to stop out the weak in life. Like, they must, and especially Now this is the first book in the Bane trilogy takes place when there are hundreds, if not thousands, of Sith that exist. The problem is they all keep trying to kill each other and trying to accumulate their own power. And Bane kind of sees that as a problem. He's like, okay, we're literally just trying to kill each other for our own personal benefits. And it's really interesting because the Sith seem to be the ultimate individualists, whereas the Jedi are like the ultimate collectivists in terms of the Jedi serve the needs of a greater code, whereas the Sith believe no, it's you look out for yourself. You are uno numero uno. Like you come before all else. And again, if that means like wiping out people who are less powerful than you in order to create your own power, so be it. Those people didn't deserve to live to begin with. But yeah. I'm gonna kick it back to Luke.
Well, yeah, no, I think that's a really interesting. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too, but you put it a lot more eloquently than I could have.
Nonsense.
But it's sort of like do you fault the lion that eats the antelope?
I'm pretty sure that exact argument is made in the book.
Well, probably not exactly
well,
like that.
Okay, not lion.
Space
antelope.
lion, space
but it's
antelope.
True, but like, do you is the lion evil for killing the antelope to feed its family?
Yeah.
Or from the antelope's perspective, yes. From the lion's perspective, no. I have to eat to live. So it's a necessary death.
Right, and the power imbalance between the lion and the antelope is natural. It's a genetical thing, right? Just like how the power imbalance with the Force is sort of like this natural thing. Some people can use it, and some people can't, right? So they sort of like assume these roles. The predator role, the herbivore.
Yep.
This is just the
Predator-prey.
Yeah, predator-prey. That's a good one. I think that's a really interesting thing. I want to go a little bit off of what you were talking about with the Sith being the ultimate individualists. And I think an interesting point with the Bane books is, and just like the rule of two in general, is I feel like when, sort of in the beginning, when you have like a bunch of Sith just running around, killing each other, doing whatever, like, yes, the Sith are the ultimate individualists. They just kind of, it's like one big competition. Who's going to be the top? Who's going to be the top Sith?
Top dog, top Sith.
Yeah, and then Bane comes in and he's like, no, this ain't going to work, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, what do we all hate? The Jedi, right? We all hate the Jedi. So how are we going to take them down? Not by fighting each other, right? So we got to implement the rule of two. And I think the Sith will always be sort of the individualist. It's just inherent with the ideology. But with the rule of two, it sort of evolves to be more than that. It's in service to the Sith themselves, right?
Yes. Self-preserve. Their fundamental principle with the Bane novels is it's literally self-preservation.
Yeah.
If the Sith want to survive and inevitably at some point in the future take over and rule the galaxy, it has to be done by just having two Sith. And that way, every Sith afterward, the Sith as a concept becomes stronger and stronger with each generation.
Absolutely. Because
in the Sith tradition, the apprentice must always kill the master. That way the apprentice now becomes stronger than the master. That apprentice becomes the master and thus takes on their own apprentice. And the cycle continues onward and onward and onward. Plagueis, Tenebris had Plagueis. Plagueis kills Tenebris. Plagueis takes Palpatine. Palpatine kills Plagueis. Palpatine takes Maul, then Dooku, then Anakin, then Vader.
Well, I think Palpatine is definitely an issue we should talk about for another day.
We will. We'll get to.
He follows the rule of two until it doesn't suit him, and then yeah. And there's
and then there's kind of like a Grievous on like the one hand side.
Well, he's not really a Sith. He's more just like there, I guess.
Yeah.
There was the cut Clone Wars. I know Darth Bane does appear in the Clone Wars in that Yoda episode, but they were going to do more with him and Revan.
Oh my, yes! There's the hold on, I'm gonna try to put it in the link the thing in the chat.
Yeah.
There's a whole scene that they were gonna put in that it got cut, and it looks so good.
Yeah, and I think it would be really interesting to have Darth Bane talk with Emperor Palpatine, because Emperor Palpatine, now that he's taken over the galaxy, he sees no need for the rule of two anymore, because he is the ultimate Sith, right?
Yeah.
You can't go any higher than him in his view, right? It's like, why should I take apprentices except for them to be tools, right?
Yeah.
And that's what every apprentice to Palpatine has been, a tool. Maul was the assassin tool. Dooku was the instigator of and the public figurehead of the separatists, right? That's what his tool. Anakin was basically, oh no, this random variable popped up. How are we gonna deal with it, right? Okay, the best way to deal with it is to take him under my wing, right?
Right.
And then when Anakin gets, brutally injured on Mustafar, Palpatine is just kind of overjoyed. He's like, okay, sweet, like now Vader is this crippled man whose weakness I can exploit to be my ultimate Iron Fist, right?
Yes.
Vader will be
The hammer.
the hammer of the Empire. He is the symbol. Like, they don't even need to fear Palpatine anymore. They just need to fear Vader because Vader's power is backed by Palpatine. That's how.
And in fact, there's the comic where literally, right after Order 66, whatever, and Vader gets a suit or whatever, there's literally a scene where like Vader's trying to give orders or whatever, and the clone's like, "Who the fuck are you? Like, we listen only to the Emperor." And Palpatine literally turns and goes, "When Vader says something, act as if I am saying it."
Exactly.
Vader is like my man, and you will do what he says as if as if myself had said it. Like, excellent.
Yeah,
excellent
it's
stuff.
awesome. But you can see that Vader is not the apprentice who should be taught anymore. Vader is the tool.
Yes.
He is the mallet that's gonna nail down whatever needs to be nailed down.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Sorry if that's a little off.
No, it's like, good. It's a good thing.
But yeah, absolutely. I think it's a really interesting sort of thing. It's just one of the reasons why Star Wars is so interesting, because you have this philosophy, and it's surprisingly fleshed out when you think about it. Because, like, if the rule of two works perfectly as it's supposed to, every successive generation is stronger than the last. Every successive generation is... It's like if you have Wikipedia and you just keep, like, updating and updating and updating, right?
Each update will be better and more informed than the last.
Exactly. Wikipedia 2 and 3 and 4 and
5,
whatever, right? Yeah.
It's like being writing an essay. It's like draft 1, draft 2, draft 3, final product.
Exactly, yeah. And it's so cool.
I don't know if the final product was like shooting lightning at it.
I wish. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I just think that's cool. One other thing that I like to bring up with the Sith and the Jedi is the physical implications
of the code.
Okay. Like on the user themselves.
Yes, I think you and I have spoken about this before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we often see, and now this is kind of like a gameplay thing for some games, like Knights of the Old Republic and whatever else, where like the more they use the Sith, the more decrepit they become.
All of the Sith either end up psychologically tortured or like are physically impaired by the effect of the dark side. Vader with not having limbs, Palpatine with his testicle-looking face. Plagueis, I'm pretty sure, ends up with some issues, although his is more psychological.
He has the breathing issue.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he gets killed.
Yeah, Maul gets chopped in half. Dooku loses his head. Fun stuff.
Grievous is literally... Well, he's not really a Sith, but like he's literally like Vader, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and they all kind of keep going. With Bane, like, you have like the obelisk things that end up like literally sucking the life out of him.
Yeah, that's sick.
Which, by the way, when he's like fighting like the 4 Jedi at once and like they're hitting the obelisk, they're just like, oh shit, we screwed up, guys. There's like a sliver of space here in his head, and that's all he's like.
It's kind of like Beskar, kind of.
They remind me of like those prehistoric, like you know. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get nerdy here.
No.
You know in Pokemon, you have like the Kabutops line?
Yes.
The first
as if they like
thing
crawled on his body.
Yes, those. No, and they've like latched themselves on.
Yeah. It's cool. Yeah, I think that's.
Sorry, that was
no.
That was an entire side note.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool armor. But yeah, it's almost as if George Lucas is trying to tell the audience that if you only care about yourself, like if you persevere through this accomplishment of only doing what's best for you. Or, it's going to affect it's going to destroy you from the inside out, sort of. And like we know like all the Sith have yellow eyes and whatever, stuff like that. But like the more and I think it sort of makes sense in kind of a weird way. Because we know, for example, that stress, right, can have a very...
has physical issues associated with it,
Exactly, right? Like, you don't really age faster, I guess, like, you...
No, but your body, it takes more of a toll on you. When you're stressed out, you're more tired, you don't want to get out of bed in the morning. You're generally more, what's the term? It's an L.
Lethargic?
Lethargic, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. You're also far more like it also takes it's psychological issues. You're more defensive. You're more irritable. You're more willing to act out in aggression.
Yeah, so I kind of see the dark side as kind of like stress on steroids in a sense.
Stress on
yeah.
Stress on nothing but the finest of bath salts.
Because because I feel like when you use the dark side, they don't really talk about this a lot in the movies, but I feel like there's certain emotions evolved with the certain sides of the Force, I guess, where the light side is more of like compassionate emotions, like thinking inwards,
because they're at peace with the world around
exactly,
them.
Yeah.
Whereas this, like the Jedi seek to live amongst the relative nature of the galaxy, whereas the Sith are trying to use their will to
subjugate.
Or to like hammer down the will of the rest of the world to their own will. Kind of thing. I can't speak anymore. I'm like stuttering. Oh, whoo boy, we can do this. But yeah, Think of the Jedi as kind of like the ocean, where the waves are rocking back and forth naturally. They're not trying to like crash down on anyone. They're just kind of like when the deodorant says 48 hours, but you drink it in... Wait, what? When the deodorant can says 48 hours, but you drink it in 4 minutes. Why would you drink a deodorant? Anyways,
wouldn't you eat it? But
or it's deodorant like spray. It's the hairspray stuff. It's spray stuff. Okay. No, but like we are sidetracked with that. But it's like the Jedi are like the waves. They are subject to like the natural like causes like by the moon or whatever, and they're just kind of ebbing and flying back and forth. Whereas the Sith are like, when you're trying to build something, they're the hammer that are trying to put the nail in the wood, regardless of what the nail wants. Mm-hmm. This is a really bad analogy.
No, I think it's a good one. Yeah.
What about a tsunami? I would argue the tsunami would be like the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Something that's out of place. It's still natural. Because obviously the Jedi are going to be required to be soldiers in a galaxy-wide war. However, it's still a total act of destruction.
Yeah, it's like unnatural discord in a sense, right?
Yeah, unnatural yet simultaneously still natural at the same time.
Right, and
because someone has to keep peace, and that's how they justify it.
And then after the tsunami, it's kind of like calm waters, I guess. That's like after the Clone Wars, or like when balance is whatever.
Yeah.
That's an issue I don't want to get to tonight.
Yeah.
But I do want to...
This is the thing. It's like within this conversation, there's like 80 different topics we could get into.
I do definitely want to have a conversation, maybe next time if you'd like, or after that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about what balance means in the Star Wars universe.
Yes!
And I want to talk about, and I want to hear your opinion about whether it's like an actual like numerical balance, 2 Sith, 2 Jedi, whether it's just the Jedi, maybe some other way you interpreted it. So but I don't want to get into it now.
Okay.
But no,
we can say it for another
like
time.
we can, but I feel like it's a very loaded.
Yeah, we're not going to get
topic.
into it tonight because we're literally already like almost an hour and 10 minutes into this. Because until we have that conversation now, that entire like what is balance mean, that's going to be like another hour and a half. And I don't want to get into that now, even though I'm sure people who are watching will probably love another hour and a half of this. But yeah, we'll get into that another time. I'm trying to like connect the topics we talk about to...
There's no connection.
Something like with either the Bad Batch, with like ideologies and things like that, or just random shit. Mm-hmm. Also, guys, if you're watching and you have suggestions or topics that you want discussed, hit me up on Discord. Hit me up in the chat. All of this stuff is being put on YouTube. Go comment, like, subscribe. If you're watching on Twitch, follow. Do what you gotta do. If you want things talked about, a particular topic, or a character, or a theme, something you want talked about, let me know. We'll find a way to put it in there. Right?
I think the thing that would make me the most happy is if you guys disagree with something, and then voice your disagreement and your reason why. Because it's the most interesting when you sort of make these conversations. And obviously I can talk with Austin forever about this, but it's always interesting to get another person's point of view. It's like, okay, like if we go back to the balance question, it's like, okay, what do you think is the balance of the Force? And why, right? It's so interesting because there is no right answer.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see why someone why someone would see one way, why someone would look at it the other way.
And hey, if there's a conversation that you guys disagree with, or you have an issue with, or you guys think that we didn't flesh out enough, we can always do like a part 2 stream, or like the next episode of the podcast, we can go back and finish talking about a particular thing.
Right.
Because I don't want us to be like limited with this. I don't want it to be like, oh, well, the stream can only be an hour and a half or whatever, and like usually half an hour to 45 minutes of us talking about the Bad Batch episodes, which leaves us like 45 minutes talking about whatever the heck what else we want to. So yeah, let us know if you guys want to have a certain topic, or if you disagree, especially if you disagree with us, or either one of us. Whether it's if you say, hey, if you take Luca's prescription of things, cool. You take my prescription of things, awesome. But if you disagree, let us know. Hit us up in comments on YouTube or in Discord, things like that.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah. Just going back to like the physical thing.
Yeah.
I feel like the Sith, when they immerse themselves so much in the dark side, they get like so like angry, I guess, if that's the right word. Like I don't know. It's just. It's not good for you.
Guys, it's not angry. It's not healthy to be super angry all the time.
Yeah,
it really isn't.
And I like that. I like that because it's sort of, George always said that the Star Wars movies are a way to teach kids right and wrong.
Right.
Like that's why we have sort of the black and white morality. It's why you have the farm boy hero who doesn't think he'll amount to anything, and then he gets sucked up in this larger quest and he ends up finding himself. It's why this is a funny little story. After Empire Strikes Back came out, and we had like obviously the iconic reveal of Vader being Luke's father. George Lucas went to a child psychologist. Mm-hmm. And he was talking to them, and he's like, "Are kids going to believe that? Like, are they going to believe?" Yeah. And the child psychologist was like, "They will if you have an authoritative parental figure confirm it." And that's where Yoda comes in. That's the whole reason for the Yoda.
Is Vader my father? Yes.
Yeah.
And just bluntly goes, yeah, he is.
Yeah. I kind of like that because it's like you can say what you will, but. There is always a consideration.
I'm pretty sure there was a theory that Vader was lying.
Yeah.
When Empire first came out, the theory was like Vader's actually lying and he's just trying to throw Luke off balance.
Well, that's what Luke believed first.
Yeah,
right?
it's like there's no way. And he literally after Luke goes into the Millennium Falcon, Ben, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's the question that was asked in the chat.
Ooh, okay.
What is the dark side though? So the dark side is, again, I know that we talk about like them as like just like basic concepts of like good and evil, but generally I would argue the dark side is the Force's personification of particular emotions: anger, rage, pain, crippling sadness in Vader's perspective, whereas the light side is consistent with emotions like peace, serenity, calmness, kind of things you get through like meditation or things like that. But like the dark side is like the physical manifestation of like those negative emotions. So those things that like send you into like a blind rage would be like the dark side or whatever. I mean, I think Yoda sums it up really well in Phantom Menace. The whole fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. Those negative emotions bring you down the path of the dark side. Is there something in between them? So that's a conversation that we'll get to on a different time.
I think we should leave that for the balance one.
We'll leave that for the what is your interpretation of balance?
Yeah, I think it definitely depends on what you believe.
Basically, absolutely. Spoilers for that comment, Ahsoka. But we will save that. If you want, Jack, that can be a topic that we can talk about at another time, only because of the fact we are coming up on an hour and a half. But I promise I'm going to write down that comment literally right now, and then I will make an... Actually, you know what, Jack? Hit me up on Discord with that, because that way I can literally like have a physical copy or whatever. So hit me up on Discord with that, and we will definitely keep that in mind for like future episodes. But we will talk about that, I promise. And if we don't, just remind me.
Yeah. What? Just one final thing. I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
You were talking about what the dark side is and what the light side is, and I think there's an interesting question to go like, do these like quote unquote sides of the Force actually exist, or is it just different interpretations of the Force? And I don't want to talk about,
which is literally the balance argument.
It's that, and it's so much more, because like you can definitely bring the Mortis stuff into this as well. And
Mortis, yes.
I absolutely don't want to talk about that right now. But all I'll say is, in my opinion, like the way I always viewed the Force, I always viewed it as like neutral sort of like thing. And then it's like
it's like the laws. It's like the laws of nature.
Exactly, right. Like if an apple falls on your head and gives you a concussion, it's not
the tree didn't throw the apple at you; it just fell.
Yeah, you can think the tree is evil, or you can think the tree is good, right? But the tree is just the tree.
The tree.
Yeah. So I feel like the Force is.
There is nothing. There is the Force.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So the Force is just the Force, and the way people interpret it and the way people use it
are entirely
dictates
different.
Light side and dark side.
I never realized that Star Wars was so deep. We haven't even gone deep yet.
Yeah,
this is the thing. We are scratching the surface, my dude. When we get into the balance conversation, we'll be getting deep into like some like deep Star Wars lore. I promise.
And I just want to say, like, the way I just talked about right now is just one interpretation.
Yeah.
You can absolutely think that the Force has objective sides. Yeah. And that's totally okay.
It also makes you a heretic. No, I'm kidding.
If you like the Mortis arc, no. No thanks.
I'm
kidding. Yeah. No. But yeah. Sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah. That's what I think about it. I will expand more about it in the balance talk. But Austin, please go ahead. I've been talking too much.
I think I pretty much said everything I want to. I feel like we focused a lot on the Sith code, not so much on the Jedi code.
Because they're boring. They're vanilla.
They're vanilla.
Me good guy. Me save people. Like
me at peace. Okay, is that it? Justin, I think I'm just gonna give my closing. I don't say closing arguments to this.
Oh, shit.
But there is. You know what? I will actually end my particular, I guess, part of this conversation. I read you guys the Sith code and the Jedi code, but just to kind of lead us into the next conversation that we're going to have at a different time, there is actually one other code, if I can try to find it here, if it lets me, that is. Come on, where is it? There's an image of it here, but I can't make it out. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing my best.
It's okay.
Like, it's literally here, but like I can't. Oh, actually, I might be able to read it here. Okay, here we go. If I pull this up to my face, I can actually read this. So the Jedi code is: there is no emotion, there is peace, there is no ignorance, there is knowledge, there is no passion, there is serenity, there is no chaos, there is harmony, there is no death, there is the Force. Sith code: peace is alive, there is only passion. Through passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my chains are broken, the Force shall free me. However, there is a third code called the Grey Jedi code, which I believe the fans kind of created through some sort of like...
I think so.
Thing. But basically the Grey Jedi code goes as such. There is no light without the dark. Through passion I gain focus. Through knowledge I gain power. Through serenity, I gain strength. Through victory, I gain harmony. There is only the Force. Mm-hmm. So it literally combines both the Jedi and Sith codes into one. Which I think is really cool, but I don't want to get bogged down to Grey Jedi stuff right now. We will get to that at a later time, whether that's next episode or an episode after that, but we will get into that conversation. Hell, we may even make it a season finale conversation. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Be interesting.
But yeah, I think that's it for me. Luca, do you have any closing thoughts?
I don't think so.
I have no thoughts. There's only the Force.
I know someone mentioned they never knew Star Wars was so deep. I think that's really cool, and I encourage you guys to just just sort of like read up on this stuff. And not just that, but like just think, like take some time to sort of like analyze this stuff and then sort of see what connections you guys can draw, or like, I'm not really getting my point across here. I'm really sorry, but just like
basically take the time and think about this stuff for yourself. Think about it. Think about it. Maybe even, I don't know, take a position on something like that. Be like, hey, do I think this is good? Do I think this is bad? Is the Sith code better? Is Jedi code better? Why is it better? Is it maybe better to include both parts of each codes, or is it better to follow one side or the other? And why is that the case? Because I think it's really cool that when people start actually thinking about these kinds of things, I think it makes for some really interesting and really cool discussions. Like I get to have with Luca, and I get to have these conversations with Luca literally anytime I want to, because we're both glutton for punishment when it comes to this kind of stuff. But hey, definitely think about it. It's always a good topic, and like you can go down like hours of conversation with this kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, you said it so much more better, so much nicer than
so much more better. We clearly failed great on 10 English.
You said it much more eloquently than I ever could have, so thank you. But yeah,
God, see Obi-Wan line, and you become a far greater Jedi than I can ever hope to be.
Yeah, I think that's it for me. Yeah. Thank you.
On that, sorry, Luke, I interrupted.
No, it's okay. I just saying, thanks so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
And please go to sleep. Some of you who are up and watching this at like 4 a.m., please go to bed. Yes. Please sleep. But yeah, that's gonna be it for that's gonna be it for us tonight, guys. We will be back in next weekend. I will be streaming probably some Battlefront 2 or some Destiny 2, depending on what I'm feeling like. Solstice of Heroes does start in a couple of days for Destiny 2, so I'll probably be playing a lot of that. But yeah, you will be the next 501st podcast will be in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, literally Friday or Saturday, depending on my freaking work schedule. Because I'm pretty sure next Friday I'm working till 8. So I'm pretty sure the next podcast will be 2 weeks Saturday. It's just nearly 5 a.m. True. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, please follow me on Twitch, Imperial's Force. All of these episodes are going to be uploaded to YouTube. YouTube is also head under the same name as Twitch, Imperial's Force. If you guys want to follow on Twitch, great. If you guys want to subscribe on YouTube, cool. If you guys want to subscribe on Twitch, that would be huge. If you guys have an Amazon Prime subscription, if you guys have like Amazon Prime, you can use your Amazon Prime account to subscribe completely free of charge. It definitely helps out the channel with stuff like that. All right. On that note, I think that's it. And we will talk to you guys in 2 weeks. Take it easy, guys. Bye.
Good evening. Or, have a good
evening.
Good
evening, Professor.
May the Force be with you.